PDAC 2022 in Toronto, in Canada. And with us here is now Hannan Metals and the CEO, Michael Hudson for Commodity TV. Good morning. How are you, Michael?
G'day from down under, Jochen.
Yeah, great to see you. Thanks for taking the time. And we are just some days after PDAC, but there is still room to do an interview for this convention. And how was it, PDAC? Were you happy?
Yeah, enthusiastic. 17,000 people have been locked up for 2.5 years in an industry where we are a communal bunch. And so it was great to be back face to face without a doubt. And you wouldn't know the markets were not actually thriving at the moment.
As always. Yeah, when PDAC starts, gold drops. It's really interesting, but it is what it is. Then we will have a good fall. Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't travel also, but next year we will be there in person for sure. But let's come to your terrific exploration company. You identified significant copper gold porphyry epithermal discoveries at Valiente at your project in Peru. So can you give us maybe a little bit of an overview there, what you have discovered, and bring this into a bigger picture, please?
You know, into quite steep and high terrain, about 1,000 meters, but it's onto the jungle side. And this is a new belt of rocks that's about 120 kilometers long by 50 kilometers wide. We have been working in that area now for the last 2 years. We've got a good team of geologists and support staff, about 5 of them who've been working very hard. We've really just started to put the news together, and it's been a coherent set of news releases over the last 4 or 5 months where we've started to articulate the opportunity, and the opportunity is large and very, very, very exciting, I must say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, your area is 140 kilometers by 50 kilometers large. I mean, that's 7,000 square kilometers. Jesus Christ. And a lot is jungle, of course. Yeah. And how did you identify those areas now we are talking about?
Yeah, well, so we're data rich. I knew that there was companies working out there in the 90s with helicopters, and it was very dangerous. There was a lot of coca growing, and it was very difficult terrain, and that's really what kept it off the radar for so long. And over the last few years, you know, some of the bigger events, we've been able to get freely available geophysical data from Peru Petro, which is the well, obviously, as it sounds like, the oil exploration company.
Yeah.
And that really gave us a crack at looking at a sort of permit scale, these big mag anomalies out in what was benign sediments, and they're actually magnetic intrusives that are the mineralizing source for these copper gold fluids. And then we've had some of the best geologists that you could really hope. One of our geologists ran La Granja, which is a huge porphyry for Rio Tinto. So he knows one little rock here and one little rock here, and he can draw the story. So during COVID, while we were working very hard in the JOGMEC areas to the north, we let him loose for basically a year in the same way over the next 6 months.
Okay, super. How is it going then with permitting for drilling?
Well, we're just exploring at the moment, and literally just over the last month, we've just come to the point where we're just starting to permit for drilling. We're geologically ready. Peru's hard, you know, that without a doubt. You know, you can wait a very long time in Peru. We've learned a lot through our permitting exercise up north in San Martin in similar types of areas. And we've gained a lot of credibility, I think, during that process too, and got to know the people who are important in permitting these areas. So, you know, at the very shortest, I hope we could be drilling earlier next year. If it goes sort of as normal in Peru, it could take a year to 18 months. So let's just see. You know, we're working very hard. The future of Hannan is all around drilling these porphyry copper gold systems, and we're really focused on trying to do that in the shortest time frame.
Yeah, because I could imagine that you are like scratching for it to drill that, because when you have already outcropping stuff like this, it must be hopefully then super exciting what you find deeper in the surface, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, just to talk about one, just exactly, we've got a kilometre by a kilometre and a half, essentially, of soils running greater than 500 ppm copper, which is over a leach cap that we've now found just immediately below those soils. So that's a huge target area. The leach cap runs grades that are very good for what you'd see leached. And then at the bottom of that leach cap in the creeks, we're finding a chalcocite blanket, which is the enriched part of these porphyries. That extends at least over a kilometre, because we're finding that chalcocite enrichment at least over a kilometre. We're seeing all the right veining. You want multiple events. The plumbing of these systems has been working intensely. So really, there's nothing more than we'd really wish for at this moment. This has got the footprint of being a major system. Now, what is going to be the grade and the scale when we start drilling it is all yet to be discovered. But everything at the moment, geologically, and any geologist I implore to go and look in the detail at the detail. And if you're not a geologist, go and look at the detail too. But I'm really challenging my associates to go and have a look at what we've done, because it is quite an exciting thing.
Absolutely. No, that's great. With that quartz veining, how do you, maybe a stupid question, but just for the understanding, you have written with well-developed quartz veining at upper topographic levels. So is it like that you see a cut in the rock from the outside, or do you see the quartz veining already on the surface in the rock?
Porphyry copper systems develop from intrusive rocks that basically are quite high level in the crust, and they explode, and that's how they brought these copper and sometimes gold, and there's gold in this system, rich fluids, and now they've got to get in through the cracks, and they're generally carried with quartz and magnetite and a number of other minerals crystallize along with the mineralization. So they're very well described, and geologists have a lot of different descriptions of all the quartz veining. But simply put, you just want to see quartz veining, you want to see a lot of it, you want to see stock working, which means it's not just a single set of veins, but it's crossing veins. And it's the first question that any geologist of their worth in a porphyry environment will be looking for, is this quartz veining, and this is well developed. We just don't have a barren porphyry or intrusive body of rock without that well-developed plumbing system that we see. So that's a really key point, but it's what every geologist would be looking for in a system like this.
Okay, super. What metals do you think would be the dominant metals? Is it more copper? Is it more gold? I saw you have also some silver and moly associated, and I saw tellurite also.
Yeah. So we've got the grab bag, exactly. We're seeing a whole porphyry environment, and that means you've got the central porphyry around the edges of that, where you've got carbonate rocks or limestones. Often you get the deposits called skarns, and we're seeing those skarns. They're generally more base metal rich, so lead and zinc. The porphyry's copper and or gold and or moly, and then above the porphyry, you see the epithermal systems, and they're gold only, and that's what we're seeing also over tens of kilometers. This mineral system's developing, and it depends on which level of the topography basically that you're standing in, and what are the rocks that which part of the system you're sitting in. So yes, it's a well developed system, and we'll be we're trying to drill it, and this is one of only 7 that we've identified so far, Jochen, and we're working up another 2 more this year in the systematic way. So we've gone in there, look for boulders in the creeks, then started doing ridgetop sampling and finding the source of these boulders, then geochemical sampling the soils, and then systematic sampling over 100 by 100 meters to build up the picture. And now we've done that in this Valiente area, over about 10 kilometers by 3 kilometers, and we're looking to do another 2 areas there, and progressively we'll drill permit the areas as we work them up, and now Valiente is ready.
Okay, super. So that sounds to me like you are on the hunt of something really large. Maybe let's call it a new belt or something like that.
There's no doubt this is a new porphyry copper belt. I mean, we don't have every square centimetre of the 150 kilometres staked, but we are first movers. We've got a dominant position, and we think that, and we've done stream sediments, which is the first pass over the whole belt. So we've filtered down to the very best areas, and we're a top 10 landholder in Peru, so we've got a very large land position. And then another key point is that we've dated these intrusives, and they're all what we call Miocene age, which is a key window of mineralization, just about 50 kilometers west into the Andes. So it's the right age rocks too, because mineralization tends to form in episodic events during the Earth's history. And that's why we're very excited that we've really rewritten the textbooks out in this eastern part. And there's only one analog. This I'll let you finish up, because you'll keep me going here forever if you get me on this. But out in Argentina, there's a deposit called Bajo de la Umbrera, which is a huge porphyry copper gold system, and it's one of the world's larger mines. That was never meant to be there in the geological environment where it was found. And in a similar way, we found these back arc porphyry systems in a similar environment that hasn't been looked at before.
Wow. Okay, super. Then I keep fingers crossed for that, because I'm a shareholder of your company too. So we want to have the success, definitely. Yeah. So that looks all fantastic. Let's move 200 kilometers to the north. San Martin, I think, is the name of the project, where you work with JOGMEC together. So what's going on there? Can you give us an update, please?
Now, the news flow has been a bit quieter this year. The last news was at the start of May, where JOGMEC confirmed for another year of funding, a $2 million year to fund that project. We've got 5 geologists and support staff there as well. So it's quite an active program. I was on the ground only a few weeks ago on that project as well. But really, we've done a lot of work in our key area, which we call Tabosos East. And what we're looking for there is a bit different. Porphyry coppers are the biggest source of copper in the world. Sediment-hosted copper, which is San Martin with JOGMEC, is the second most prolific source of copper in the world, and it's more like a pancake. It's a stratigraphic unit that extends, and in the case of the JOGMEC JV, we've got this stratigraphic unit like a pancake. It's very thin. It's about 1 meter thick. That extends for 100 kilometers or more. And there's a lot of copper in the system, and we've been able to map it and define it over those sort of distances and in a confined part of the stratigraphy. The challenge will be when we drill it, and we put all our paperwork in to the authorities, and we're waiting on a decision to get those drill permits. But the challenge will be whether we can drill one hole and drill another hole a few hundred meters away and get representative grades in the system, because you can't drill these big pancake systems at really close spacing. So we want to see good continuity of the copper over those sort of distances, where we can drill out, tens and hundreds of millions of tons over vast areas, and the continuity of the copper is the key there. And we will not really know until we drill and test it, because we're really working on about 0.5% or less of information in this jungle environment. So there's a lot to learn, but we're here to de-risk projects. That's what geologists do, exploration geologists do, and that's the key de-risking step next when we drill.
Super, perfect. That was a great final sentence. Thank you very much, Michael. De-risking the projects and de-risking the company for the shareholders also, that is always great. So we look forward to some nice news flow here in the second half, hopefully. And I would say keep it going.
Thanks, Jochen. It's certainly one to put in your back pocket. Keep those shares warm and follow the story, because we're very excited.
Definitely, me too. Thank you very much, Michael. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Michael Hudson from Hannan Metals, the CEO for Commodity TV and the PDAC 2022. And you heard it, without exploration, well, we will get a problem sooner than later, because exploration is key for future metal supply, and Hannan is really onto something big here with their, let's call it, 2 core areas, if you want to take it like that, with Valiente and San Martin. And also they are working already in San Martin with JOGMEC together, which is great, which shows also the interest from large companies here, and definitely something you really should consider, because this is the future of mining. So thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.